All right, and we are live. Welcome to MCS Real Sports Podcast. I am Mascara, and we got my great co-host, Mr. Caleb Conant. Caleb, how are we doing this fine Monday, March 14th, 2022, Pi Day?
It's Pi Day?
That's correct. It's 3.14, March 14th.
Oh, I wonder if anybody's giving away free pie today. I'm kind of tired of McDonald's free pie. Gonna go somewhere else and try for some good pie. Uh, but man, it's a blessed Monday. You know what I'm saying? Just got back from my big first time at Big Bear, being in the snow. So, man, just feeling blessed, motivated, inspired. You know, that's how I'm feeling today, bro. How's your Monday going, man? How have you been, bro?
How's my day been? My day's been pretty good so far. Regular Monday, but for me, spring break has started, so I'm just gonna live it up this week, and free agency has started and it's going well, and I'm just overall excited.
Oh boy, I'm excited. I can tell you that for sure. I'm excited. I Let's get to it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. I can't. I'm jealous, bro. You're on spring break before me. I don't even know what my spring break is. I was with some friends of mine yesterday. They like, oh, we on spring break too. What? What's going on? What the
Hey, man, each school is different. But before we get into this, where can the people find all the great things that you do, Caleb?
Okay, back into the plugins, baby. Let's get it. Look, so you can find me on Twitter at the name down below, Caleb Conant 2, CALEB CONANT 2. Click the link in the bio. There's plenty other things you can find there as well. On Instagram, you can find me at the number one, CALEB CONNANT. I messed up three times, but y'all can see at the bottom of the Screencaster link. It says Caleb Connor 2. Just take the two, put the one before the C on Instagram, and you'll find me. Click the link tree in that bio, and you'll find plenty other things there. So that's where you can find me, my man. Look me up on LinkedIn as my name. Check it out. Matt, where can they find you, bro?
Man, they could find me Instagram Matt underscore Skura 21 because your boy
Okay.
turned 21 last week, so had to update that.
Yeah.
And
Tell
then
me,
my
what did you
twit
do for your 21, man? I've seen some pics hit the web. And I was like, oh, this guy is doing something crazy. What did you do, bro? Describe your 21 to it.
man, describe my 21st.
Yeah.
I would honestly say with my 21st birthday, what I did, I went bowling.
Okay.
Had a little pizza. It was good. For our 21st birthday, and then throughout the week, just lived up a little bit because I couldn't go too hard during the week because I had midterms, so I had to be disciplined really quick. But then over the weekend, went up to North Austin. Had a couple drinks, had some fun with friends, and yeah, just lived it up there. But that's how the 21st has been so far.
I love it, bro. I love it. I love the fact that you mentioned discipline and midterm. I actually have to do a midterm after we hop off of this. So I feel you, bro. I'm glad you had fun. Turned up, took a couple drinks. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, bro.
But yeah, anyways, that's how I lived up my 21st. To find it out, to basically find all things that I do, the Instagram at Matt underscore score 21.
Say that
The
louder. Say that louder. Matt Skirl. What? I didn't hear the last number.
Matt underscore score 21.
Okay. Matt underscore Skirl 21 on IG, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely
Okay.
on
Where
on
else can they
IG.
find you?
And the Twitter is at Matt underscore Skura. And both of those links in the bio. You could check out this podcast right here on the link tree. And it's available everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, you name it, it is available everywhere. Everywhere you could find it, it's there.
Check him out. Check him out.
Exactly. Check it out indeed. And with that being said, let's get into all of the recent transactions that have gone down in this free agency period so far. And what is one thing, Caleb, that has stood out to you so far with all of these free agency moves so far?
Mm. Now, as you guys see who are watching, Matt's got this new thing up where we're able to see some of the recent moves. Now, can you scroll down a little bit on this page, because as we are doing this episode, so many things are happening. We got deals happening as we speak for real. But I'd have to say I woke up to the Chase Edmond deal, and that deal wasn't. I don't know. I don't know about that deal. I mean, I hope that the Dolphins use him right. Um, Being that they kind of already have fast running backs, but uh, that deal really surprised me. That deal really surprised me today. As far as this being the first day, I have to say, like, that deal woke me up, and I was shocked. I thought he'd be in Miami. I mean, I thought he'd stay in Arizona, to be honest. What's been the biggest move to you today, regarding free agency?
I would say the biggest move for me regarding free agency, it has to be the Mitch Trubisky signing. It has to be the Trubisky signing to Pittsburgh. The reason being is just for the simple fact that we kind of had a feeling that Mitchell Trubisky was going to be on the move, but I don't think we expected it to be like that. Where, all right, 2 years to Pittsburgh, now he's most likely going to be the guy, and now it's kind of a realization of, now we're gonna see what goes down.
You think, man, I think he'll have a an opportunity, to be the guy. I don't know if he will be the guy. I don't know. I don't see why. I don't even see why the Pittsburgh Steelers would do that. I just, does that make quite sense to you?
I think it does make sense to me. I think the reason why it makes sense to me is just due to the fact that they don't believe in Mason Rudolph. They don't believe that he can be the guy. That's what I got out of it, just from that move as a whole. That's what I got out of it. I got from a standpoint of, you know what, I'm not sold on the guy. I don't believe he's able to do what he's able to do. Let's bring in Trubisky. Let's give him an opportunity to succeed, because when Trubisky has had the opportunity to succeed, he's done pretty well. Obviously it was interesting his time in Chicago. They made the playoffs twice when he was a starter. Call it what it is, whether it's based off of a defense, whether it's Matt Nagy being a liability. It's one of those things to where if you want to go from a signing standpoint, now obviously there's been a ton of others. I'm just going with the Trubisky factor just because it's most recent, and we didn't really expect him to kind of be in Pittsburgh. Like, he was kind of like the last ditch resort. Like, okay, you know what? We can't get Wilson. We can't get Watson. We're not going after Kirk Cousins. So let's just go after a guy in Trubisky, sign him to 2 years, and if it pans out, fantastic. It's phenomenal for us if it pans out. But if it doesn't pan out, then we could just simply be like, you know what, it's time to move on. We could do just that, and we just have to find another quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with the Steelers is just like, like my question is, why didn't they just go through the draft? Why don't you think? Do you think that would have been better for them just to go through the draft and get a quarterback?
I think the Steelers aren't quite sold on the quarterbacks
Mm,
in this draft. I think you look at the QB class in this draft isn't really as strong as in years past. In years past, you would see like, oh, we have Josh Allen, we have Lamar Jackson, we have Baker Mayfield, we have all these talented quarterbacks in the draft. And then even just last year, you have Zach Wilson, you have Trevor Lawrence, you have Mac Jones, you got Trey Lance, you got plenty of talented guys that you know for a fact they could either be a backup one year, but they're going to be a starter soon. With these QBs in the draft, we truly don't know what they're going to be. Like, we don't know what Matt Corral is going to be like after his injury in the Sugar Bowl when Ole Miss played Baylor.
yeah.
I mean, Malik Willis has looked good, but I mean, he went to Liberty. Is he able to translate that to whatever team he's been on? The same thing, even with Kenny Pickett from Pitt. How is he going to translate? And when you also look at it in most drafts, you would see QBs taken off the top of the board. But when you look when you look and see at the QB needy teams, they aren't really at the top. Like even with the draft order, the Jaguars, they don't need a quarterback. They have theirs. The Detroit Lions, they don't really need a quarterback. They have theirs. The Texans don't need a quarterback. The Texans have their QB. And then it's just so on and so forth. Even the Jets with the fourth pick, like I don't see the Jets taking a QB at 4. They got Zach Wilson. And then with the Giants at 5, they're going to roll with Daniel Jones because he's got one more year left. I don't think they're going to be taking a quarterback. Even the same thing, I guess if you were to make a case for a team that might get a quarterback, might be Carolina at 6. But even then, they still have Sam Darnold there at number 6. Why not just let Darnold roll out? And if it doesn't work, then just be like, all right, let's just move on and get another quarterback. But
Yeah.
that's just why. It's because it's not really a QB heavy kind of draft class. It's more the QBs are going to be, most likely drafted later in the first round, probably in like the mid picks.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I believe they can be sold. If they can't be sold on the quarterback. But I believe they have the 20th pick this year. Is that correct? Um, and with that being said, they're probably not gonna get the top guy. So, mm, yeah, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. It makes me look at it from a different perspective. If I was them, I would have definitely went and got a quarterback through the draft. Not maybe I could get somebody with the second round pick. Um, but let's see. Let's see how Trubisky pans out. Let's see. I think they need somebody who has an arm. But you never know. Juju Smith. That's another. Juju Smith Schuster is another guy to talk about and see where he goes as well. I think he is a free agent.
Absolutely. I definitely think that's going to be interesting to see where Juju Smith-Schuster goes. I also want to touch upon, some other moves that have went down. In fact, some of the most breaking news I've ever seen before. Now, before we get into the recent trades that have gone down, the recent free agency signings, there was one thing that pretty much struck the entire nerve of the NFL, and that is because of one man, Mr. Tom Brady. He is returning for his 23rd NFL season. Just 2 months ago, the man announced his retirement. He said he was done from the NFL. He said his time has come. He was going to retire. 2 months later, there's even a stat line, Caleb, where it showed the MLB lockout was 99 days. Tom Brady's retirement was 40 days. In a span of 40 days, the man went from being retired to now coming back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And because of that, Caleb, you want to hear their betting odds now to win the Super Bowl?
Who?
The Buccaneers.
Why?
They did just because of the Tom Brady effect and how important he is. So the Buccaneers, before Tom Brady announced he was coming back, were at plus 2,500 odds, which they weren't near the top in the odds. Now they've improved to plus 750, which I believe is like the third or fourth best odds to win the Super Bowl. So they went from being nearly outside of the top 10 in the Super Bowl contention to now being one of the teams favored to win the Super Bowl. All because Tom Brady said he's coming back for another season.
Look at the media. Look at the media. Look at the media, how they try to do that.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. It's crazy to me when I see that, but I just want to throw it out to you, Caleb. How shocked were you when you heard the news that Brady was coming back for another season and actually not retiring?
You know what, bro? I wasn't really even shocked, to be honest, because I kind of read into some news that where he was looking like he was gonna come back. I do take this public relations class for anybody listening, college students listening. Take that class, a good class, but learned a lot about like spinning the media and shit like that, and leaking shit on purpose. So after like just learning, it kind of made sense how he was moving when he first retired. That it'd be a chance that he came back. Not that he wouldn't come, that he wouldn't come back at all. But I expected there to be a chance when he came back. And when he came back, like when the news was breaking news on my phone, like I didn't have any like, oh my god, Brady's back. No, I was like, oh, Brady's back. Let's go. Like I definitely I want him to, play one more year. Like I got to see him in person this year, and seeing him in person and play is ridiculous. He brings a big effect to wherever he's at. He's gonna sell out tickets. So he's a GOAT, bro. But I wasn't surprised. How did you feel, bro?
I felt completely different. I was completely surprised when I heard the news that Brady was coming out of retirement. Now, just I truly thought that he was going to be done. I thought, you know what better way to I guess go out? You were down 27-3. You come back, you tied the game, and just fell short. But you know what? You get that piece knowing you gave it your all, and it just fell a little short. But and I truly believe the reason why Brady came back was because of what he saw Cristiano Ronaldo do for Manchester United. The man was 37, Caleb, and he scored a hat trick. And Cristiano basically said, I'm not sure if this was before the game or after the game. He basically stated that, hey, are you finished? Like, are you done the NFL? And Brady kind of was like, kind of like, we'll see. And I think after seeing that, I'm just like, man, Cristiano really was a legend and got a hat trick. And basically Brady saw that and was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I could give it another year. But I also think Brady looked at the NFC and said, Russell Wilson has gone to Denver, which we will discuss, in this episode. But he looked at it and saw, hey, Russ is in Denver, and I'm looking at the NFC South, and I look at it and just say, hey, this is a cakewalk division. I mean, you look at the NFC South; it has the potential to be one of the worst divisions in the NFL this year, just because there aren't any other quarterbacks. Like, look at the NFC South. Matt Ryan is basically old and on his last leg. You then look at the Panthers. You got Sam Darnold. I mean, that's sad in itself. And then you got, you then got the Saints. The Saints, we don't know who their quarterback is. Is it Jameis? Is it Taysom Hill? Or is it Ian Book? There aren't going to be a lot of options there to try out there. So Brady saw it and was like, hey, you know what? I can go back to Tampa. Why not? I can run it back another year. Screw it. And even shout out in the comments, even my dad throws out, he says Brady can play till he's 50. I mean, at this rate, he might, as long as he stays healthy. And you also got to think he had one of the best seasons of his career. The man had almost like 4,300 yards. Like, he was impressive. Like, Brady did well. And we also have, if you guys don't know, we also are live on Colorcast. And we have some comments in here basically saying that It's shout out Christian. He is also, Caleb, a big Rams fan, diehard Rams fan.
Go Rams! Go Rams!
He's been living it up with the Rams. He's also saying Rams in 4. He even told me personally when I told him that Brady's coming to retirement. He said Aaron Donald is going to send him to the gulag. His words, not mine. He said Donald is going to send him back to the retirement home. And then he proceeded to say that the NFC West is the SEC of the NFL, which is kind of true, which we could get into that later on because the NFC West is just a competitive division as a whole. But overall, I was more along the lines of surprise that Brady came out because I didn't expect it. I didn't expect Tom Brady to come back. I thought he was done. I thought, you know what? It was a great ride. It was a great career. But you know what? At some point, Father Time is here. But, he overcame Father Time. And now we'll have to see, what happens the rest of the way. But one thing is for certain, if you're a Bucs fan, you have to be thrilled because now you're back into the playoff contention. And there's even a track record, Caleb, since there's even a stat to where it says since 2013, this is 9 years running. You ready to hear what has happened, Caleb, in the 9 years of running?
Talk to me.
So every year since 2013, since Brady has lost a playoff game, the following year, he's won a Super Bowl. 2013, lost to Denver in the AFC Championship game. The following year, wins Super Bowl 49. Super Bowl 50, he loses to the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game. The following year, 28-3. He then loses Super Bowl 52 against the Eagles. The following year, wins Super Bowl 53. He then loses to the Titans in his final game as a Patriot. The following year, wins the Super Bowl in his first year in Tampa. And now he lost to the Rams in the divisional round. And now he's coming back for another year. Will it be a Super Bowl 57 champion Brady or will it be somebody else? But that has been the trend since 2013. Every time Brady has lost in the playoffs, the following year, he's won it.
Well, that's huge that you say that because I was going to mention that his best, in my opinion, maybe one of his best offensive linemen just signed the deal with the Bengals. Now, they have to go out. And I don't know if they've tagged Chris Godwin or do they still have to restructure the deal?
They tagged him. They franchise tagged him.
They tagged him. So with that money that they have left over, they've got to go get a new offensive lineman in position of Alex Kappa.
Yeah, and what has also helped as well is they did re-sign their center. Let me pull up on the screen here. They did re-sign their center Ryan Jensen to it was a 3-year, $39 million deal with I believe about 23 to 26 million guaranteed. It was a 3-year, $39 million contract with I believe 23 million guaranteed. So that took care of their center. But you are absolutely right. They're going to have to take care of the guard position, especially with him retiring.
Exactly. Well, not the guy. The Kappa didn't retire. He just went to the Bengals. But they gotta shore that up. Make sure he has a line, and then everything after that, we'll see. I can't count Brady out. I'll never bet against Brady. Actually, I will if they play the Rams, and Saints and Eagles. But other than that, I'm Brady all day.
Yeah, absolutely. We even got here some of the comments. We have Perry in the Colorcast section saying the Bucs Super Bowl favorites. I fear they could be. I mean, I think it depends on how they handle the offseason. We got Christian following up by saying, didn't they lose to some team in the semis of last year, though, which he's referring to as the Rams, which, I mean, it is going to be interesting to see, but the Bucs will for sure be a guaranteed playoff team. You could pretty much write that in the book. Like, they're going to guarantee make the playoffs. They're going to easily win the NFC South. It's not a question. The only matter of is where are they going to be placed in the playoff picture? Because I'm telling you right now, if the Buccaneers could find a way to get a 1 seed, they're going to be the scariest team in the NFC. But if they have to play a wild card, we'll see what happens. But like you mentioned, Caleb, this is the GOAT. This is Tom Brady. Anything can happen, and I will say it would be quite a storybook ending when all the media is saying that he announced his retirement. It would be quite a story for him to say, like, you know what? You said I'm done. I'm coming back, and I'm gonna win number 8. That would be the most legendary thing I would ever see if he were to come back just to win his 8th ring, just to spite everybody. Now, I know I'm a Packers fan. I want to see Green Bay succeed, but I just think it would be flat out hilarious if Brady, since he's out of retirement, he goes on a run and wins his 8th Super Bowl. And it's like, oh, you know what? Now I'm done. Now I'm finished. I'll take ring number 8, and you could suck it with your saying that I retired because I got ring number 8. like that would be awesome if that were to happen.
It would. It would, bro. I'm a fan of a good story, and I think that would be a good story. But
yeah, but hey, all I know is this next episode of Man in the Arena, which I think comes out in April, it's gonna be legendary.
I had ESPN Plus when Man in the Arena first came out. I canceled my subscription, but I must say that was one of my favorites. That was my favorite show out of that ESPN Plus series. Besides Detail, I love watching Detail. I'm that type of guy when it comes to any sport. I love the detail of it. But I love his show, Man in the Arena. Yeah, I love that show. I love that. He that was like for the people who watched the Kanye Genius documentary on Netflix. That was like a sports version of it, in my opinion. Great show though. Great show. I might just have to go buy the fucking ESPN Plus again just to make sure I can catch that.
Absolutely. And with that being said, now that the Brady news is out of the way, there was the other news that broke down obviously before Brady announced that he came back. Russell Wilson got traded to the Denver Broncos. In return, the Seahawks sent Russell Wilson, and I believe it was a 4th-round pick, to Denver. And in return, they got Noah Fant, Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, a 1st-round pick this year, which is the 9th pick, a 1st-round pick the next year, and I believe they got like a 3rd or a 4th. But you look at that trade, Caleb, what were your overall thoughts on Russell Wilson being traded to Denver?
That trade literally was what got me out of my seat. I was like, wow, what happened? I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. Honestly, though, I think the Seahawks win that trade. I think they win that trade. Drew Lock, I'm not too sold on him, but Noah Fant, I like him. I don't think that they've always had a whole lot tight end. Shelby Harris, I know he does his thing on defense, but if they could just get a quarterback who's solid, they're gonna have weapons. You know, they have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Noah Fant, Chris Carson at running back. They got to build a solid line, and yeah, I think they win that trade, bro. I really do. The Broncos, I don't know why that's such a big destination for all the quarterbacks right now. Well, not all the quarterbacks, but big destination for players like Aaron Rodgers and Wilson. They might have a lot of cap space to bring more guys in around them. But just the way their roster is set up right now is really just not intriguing. If I was a quarterback, I really wouldn't be intrigued with what I had around me going to Denver. So, in my opinion, I honestly feel like Seahawks won that trade, and it might be a bold take, but you guys will see later. Everybody in the color cast, y'all gonna see later.
That's actually an interesting take because I think of it differently. I think this is a huge win for the Denver Broncos. I look at it from the standpoint of Denver. What was the one piece that they were missing? The one piece that they were missing was a quarterback. What do? They see Russell Wilson disgruntled in Seattle. They went out and they got their quarterback. Did you have to pay a king's ransom? Absolutely. You had to give up your 9th pick. You had to give up a valuable defender in Shelby Harris. You may have had to give up, your tight end Noah Fant, but losing Drew Lock, I don't think Broncos fans care that they lost Drew Lock. Because when I look at this move that Denver made, that move that they made right there, I think is a move for them to basically saying they were fed up of missing the playoffs. They were fed up on having QB issues. And they're like, you know what? Let's go get Russ. He's not only going to solve our problems right now, but he's also going to solve our problems for the future. Because I think at this point, Russ is 31, turning 32. Knowing how long a QB can play, seeing that the age of 40-year-old quarterbacks is basically like the new 30, you could keep Russ not only for the next couple years, 4 to 5 years, but you could add on top of that. Maybe if Russ stays healthy, he could play 6 to 8 years, maybe 10 years. The Broncos make that move, and we even have a comment saying, don't hate it for the Seahawks, but Denver comes up big with Russ, immediately can contend. I think he's absolutely right with that statement. I think Denver can be a team that can contend. Now, it's going to be very hard because the AFC West is a very tough division. You got to worry about the Chiefs twice a year, the Chargers twice a year, and the Raiders with Derek Carr for twice a year. That's going to be a little bit of a tough competition. But knowing that Denver made this move, it does give them one big pressure. You better make the playoffs. There is absolutely zero excuses for you not to make the playoffs. If the Broncos fail to make the playoffs, that's when I can believe in you, Caleb, in saying the Seahawks won this trade. Just because if you get Russell Wilson and you miss the playoffs, there's something deeper that would be wrong with Denver. But I think right now, them getting Russ is definitely going to help them be a playoff contender.
I agree. They now can compete immediately. But I don't know if they have enough around them to win now this year, exactly this year. But they can compete, obviously. I don't know. It makes sense for Denver. Like you said, they're tired of not having a quarterback. Now I just want to see what they can do, man. The AFC is really tough. Let them know like how tough the AFC really is. They got Wilson, Allen, Mahomes,
Burrow.
I know I'm forgetting somebody.
Yeah, then Lamar Jackson too.
Lamar Jackson. Oh my God, they have so many. Justin Herbert, they have so many guys. So, like, yeah, he's got to prove himself. Because let's just say Denver or he gets hurt. God forbid, he gets hurt. Then what? They're right in the same spot again.
Oh yeah, if Russ gets hurt like he did in Seattle, it's basically the Broncos season is finished. If Russ gets hurt again, the Broncos are done. Like they're gonna be finished.
But I mean, it may help them get a pick in the draft, like a first round pick.
It can't because the Seahawks got their pick next year because they made the trade.
Further down the line.
Well, yeah, but not after this year, but next year.
Yeah.
Next year when they have the pick. But yeah, I think Denver is praying that Russ stays healthy. They're going to make sure that he's in bubble wrap and making sure that he doesn't get injured. But with that being said, we focus a little bit on the Broncos side, but on the Seahawks side of things, it's a bit of an end of an era. Russell Wilson was there for a decade. They also on the same day cut a longtime linebacker, one of the best in Seahawks history, and Bobby Wagner. You look at the Seahawks; they are now going into what seems to be like a full rebuild. And Caleb, now that the Seahawks have the 9th pick, what would you do with that 9th pick?
Go get a quarterback, Malik Willis or somebody, Sam Howell, best available quarterback. I'm getting him. I think that's the best thing they can do. But they might, depends on who the best player available is. Like if Kayvon Thibodeaux is open at 9, might as well go get him. It's either the best available player that you can't pass on or a quarterback. For me, that's what I would do. What would you do?
Oh, what I would think, I would just go after best available player besides quarterback. I think if I'm Seattle, if I can't get Deshaun Watson, I might ride out there and say, you know what? I have an incentive to tank with Drew Lock. If Drew Lock does terrible, fine. I can move on from him, get Bryce Young the following year. All things are going to be just fine. But if Drew Lock exceeds expectations and actually does well like a franchise quarterback, well, boom, there you go. You got your franchise quarterback. And
Yeah.
we also have some more comments saying that Perry, he saw Minshew rumored to the Seahawks, and then again he doesn't hate that in their position if they don't go QB at 9, which I think they could go QB at 9 if they wanted to, but I just don't see it happening. He also says Willis would be the guy if they do draft, especially with the Panthers ahead of him looking at Deshaun Watson. I think it all depends on what Seattle looks like. If
Right.
Seattle looks at their team and says, you know what, screw it, let's just go get our QB now, they're gonna get Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett or anybody like that. They're gonna get the top QB because I think the top QB is gonna be there at 9. Because no other team really, besides I guess Carolina, would draft a QB inside the top 10. So if they want to get a QB, they most certainly can. But do I think they should? No. I think they should worry about getting either somebody on defense or work on getting offensive linemen. But if you're not sold on Drew Lock, why not take Malik Willis and have a QB competition? If Malik Willis wins, he wins. If he doesn't win, just let Drew Lock ride it out. And if Drew Lock sucks, throw in Malik Willis.
Yeah. Simple. I mean, I would. Yeah. Yeah. Have him battle for the spot. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Have him battle for
Eh,
the spot. You might. I think Matt Corral is gonna be a guy that people he slips, but he's gonna be a good player. I really do believe that. So they might not even have to use that number 9 pick. They might just find a quarterback in the second round. I believe there'll be somebody solid in the second round.
Yeah, exactly. They could even use their second round pick for that as well. But I also think it's crazy to me what sort of started the downfall for Seattle was them trading those 2 firsts to get Jamal Adams. You look at when they traded for Jamal Adams, they wanted to try to give Russ one last push for the postseason. And what's happened since then? They went 12-4 and they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. And then the following year, they go either 6-11 or 5-12. I think it was 6-11. And you don't have your first round pick because you traded for Jamal. And basically, Jamal Adams went from I don't want to be a part of a rebuild and the Jets trade me to now being a part of a rebuild in Seattle. Safe to say that guy can't catch a break. But I also just think for the Seahawks, and even like I know the Seahawks are rumored in Deshaun Watson. If I'm the Seahawks, why go for him? You're not gonna be competitive in the NFC West even with Deshaun Watson. If they find a way to somehow get Deshaun Watson, you still got a terrible defense, you still got a terrible O-line, and you still got a suspect run game. You're not even going to win the division. The Rams just won a Super Bowl and are head and shoulders better than you. The Niners just made it to the NFC Championship game, and they have this rookie quarterback who has potential by the name of Trey Lance, and they also have a respectable defense. So I'm going Niners there. And then with Arizona, I know Cliff Kingsbury is suspect, but you still got Kyler Murray, you still got DeAndre Hopkins healthy. They got a squad, and then there's you. Why would you trade all those assets to get Deshaun Watson to maybe get third place when you could just, you know what, embrace the suckitude, embrace the tank, miss the playoffs about 2 times, maybe year 3, year 4. You're going to be an ascending playoff contender, and a team like the Rams or the Cardinals when their window closes because their players get older, you're going to be on the rise. So I just think just stay out of Deshaun Watson rumors, embrace the tank, either get Malik Willis at 9 or draft Bryce Young next year when you're going to have one of the top picks.
Ooh, I like that idea. I like that idea.
That's just me. What I personally think that the Seattle Seahawks should do. Now, there have been other news. Those are just the biggest ones. There was also, as we all know, the Aaron Rodgers rumors in the offseason, whether he was going to stay, whether he was going to retire, or go somewhere else. It was determined that Aaron Rodgers was going to stay with my beloved Green Bay Packers. Now, there still hasn't been a deal yet, but both sides are working on a salary cap friendly deal. But he confirmed that he is going to stay with the Green Bay Packers, and I think that's great for him. I think that's great for the Packers because I think the Green Bay Packers are now going to be an instant Super Bowl contender. They're going to be one of the favorites in the NFC, but they got a lot of stuff to work on for the salary cap. I then want to throw it out to you, Caleb. Did you expect Rodgers to stay, or did you expect him to do something else?
Man, honestly, I expected him to stay. I didn't see anywhere. Honestly, I told y'all about Denver. Like they just don't sell it, and I felt like there was no other place like better for him than Green Bay. They could retain Devontae Adams and run it back. Like I was definitely not shocked. I thought if anything he was gonna retire. Like I was gonna be surprised if he retired. But how do you feel about Rodgers wanting to run it back with you guys?
I think it was the right decision. You know, I look at it. I know he was rumored a lot in Denver, but seeing what Denver traded for Russ, it would have had to have been that, if not more. And then on top of that, having to play Herbert and Mahomes twice a year. And then on top of that, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen in the playoffs. It's a much harder path when you're 37, 38 than being in the NFC when all you have to worry about is Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, and maybe Dak Prescott or Kyler Murray. Like it's an easier path in the NFC compared to the AFC. So I think he made the right decision there. Now it did come out today, Caleb, that Devontae Adams is not going to play under the franchise tag that we gave them. So he's either going to hold out or we're going to have to try to give him an extension.
Oh my God.
So we'll have to see what happens there. I think Green Bay is going to get things done. They're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to figure it out. But he did say he was not going to play under the franchise tag. So we're going to have to work things through. You know, if he wants to, and rightfully so, he deserves to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL because he is the best receiver in the NFL. And I do not want to hear anything about it. He is way better, head and shoulders better than DeAndre Hopkins. And that is a fact.
Yeah.
Just pure fact. I do not want to hear it. Adams is top 2 and not number 2.
Yeah, easy. That's not even an argument. Like, no, that's not even an argument. The DA is number 1. I'm just really wow. I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, and it's only because he wants to be paid as a top receiver, and he deserves to be. Like, I'm not one of those like, oh, why would he do this? No, he deserves to get paid. Like he has earned the right to be. You know what? Pay me, give me top tier money, give me $20+ million to be the main receiver, and he has every right to do so. You know, and hey, all power to him. I just hope Green Bay gets things done. You know, we're now only I think 18.5 million over the cap space, so we have a couple days to work things out there. But you know, I think it's great that Rodgers is back. They're going to figure out a way to get Devontae Adams back. But we've also had some casualties. You know, we had to release Billy Turner, which happened today, and then we also had to release Za'Darius Smith today as well. You know, some cap casualties, which is tough to see. They were great players for the Packers, but it had to be done, you know, plain and simple. And then we also gave Preston Smith a nice extension. I believe it was 4 years, 4 years, $52.5 million restructured contract extension, which helps save us some cap space to help get us in a position. There's also rumors that Jair Alexander is working on getting paid as one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL. Jalen Ramsey got paid $20 million. So you got to think Jair Alexander is going to be upwards of that level. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see what Green Bay does the rest of the way. But I'm excited that number 12, my guy Aaron Rodgers, is back for another season.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad. I'm glad he came back. I was
Hey,
excited to see.
I know you say that. I know you say that. I know you say that just because you want my mental health to be good. Because
Exactly. Exactly.
Lord knows what would happen to me if Rodgers either retired or went somewhere else.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to be sick watching Jordan Love. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I really want to see what Jordan Love has to do. You know, I think he has a lot of potential. I think he could actually be good for you guys. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think they really drafted him for insurance. I would love to see you guys trade him if possible, so he could go somewhere and actually show his skill set, and maybe that could be a way that you get another receiver or something. But yeah, of course. I mean, I wouldn't want to see you like that, bro. You see what I'm going through with the Saints? We don't have a quarterback. It's I'm.
You
We
did.
don't
Here's
talk
what I
about
will
it.
say. Here's what I will say. You did until Jameis got hurt. Jameis was your guy, but then he got hurt.
Yeah, true, true. And I can't even front on Jameis. He did a really good job. Uh, while he was with us. Um, only thing is, we wanna. I'm used to seeing like I grew up watching Drew Brees play for us, bro. So like I'm used to seeing top tier quarterbacks play for the Saints, and not to say Winston wasn't. He fit really well. With Sean Payton, who's a really 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 good coach. So we're heading in a new direction. We have a new coach. We don't know how good he is at utilizing just any quarterback or a quarterback that's not really skillful. So I would love to see Deshaun Watson come to the Saints, bro. How would you feel? How would you feel about that? And where do you think Deshaun Watson ends up?
I mean, I think it would be good for the Saints. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of capital they have to give up to get Watson. But I think Deshaun Watson, he's obviously going to get traded in Houston. It's not a matter if, it's when. Like that saga is pretty much over. I think it's going to be whatever team is willing to give up the most. If Carolina really wants Deshaun Watson, you better bring the picks. You better bring the picks and the player. If you're the Panthers, if you're even the Texans, you got to tell the Panthers up front, yo, give us that sixth pick. Give us your first round next year. Maybe even give us your first round pick the following year. Give us a player. If you want to keep Christian McCaffrey, fine, but give us that sixth pick. Like if I'm the Panthers, I'm going in because hearing, if you guys don't know, that Deshaun Watson was cleared of all charges. If you're the Texans, you're like, why not? Give us all the picks that you can. Let's build around Davis Mills. Let's build around our young talent. We already have the third pick in the draft this year. If you want Watson, you got to give up at least what Russell Wilson was able to get. 2, 3 firsts, 2, 3 players.
Fuck. I don't know. I mean, I'd give up three firsts and two players, but I don't know. I don't know who the Saints could give up. Taysom Hill would be a good guy. Three firsts, Taysom Hill, and
You might have to give up Mike Thomas. If Mike Thomas still wants out of New Orleans, that might be an incentive to move on from him because
that
the
happened.
Texans now they could get their receiver. And just in general, like if Michael Thomas still doesn't want to be with the Saints because whether it's contract disputes or anything like that, maybe you could be the Saints like, hey, you know what? We'll give you Michael Thomas. We'll give you a first round pick this year, maybe a first round pick next. We'll get Deshaun. We'll be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, for the Saints, it has to be bringing in Deshaun Watson to pair with Thomas. I think that would be really, really dangerous. But as the Saints, I would try to avoid trading Thomas. I think he's willing to stay. Over the offseason, I've seen some reports stating that he's willing to stay.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that looks. We'll see how that turns out to be. But it's going to be very interesting to see what goes down. In other news and other offseason moves that have gone down, recently, as of yesterday, the Cowboys have officially traded Amari Cooper. They traded him to the Cleveland Browns, and in return, the Cowboys got a 5th and a 6th round pick. And as a result of the Browns getting Amari Cooper, they have decided to release the receiver Jarvis Landry, freeing up $14.8 million of cap space. I'll throw it out to you, Caleb. Thoughts on this decision by the Dallas Cowboys?
Great that they got something. I wish and think that they would have got more. But great at the end of the day, great that they got something. Yeah, I think it's great that they got something, but I just wish they would have either got more than that, because I mean it's kind of trash. They gave away a first for him, so hopefully they would have got more. And I don't see why other teams didn't put in an offer. Like, if that's all it took, like, if I was a GM of an organization that could benefit from having a receiver like him, like, I would have outbidded the Browns. So I don't know, some fishy stuff going there, because they basically traded him for nothing, in my opinion. So I was more confused and boggled, but hey, I'm excited to see what he could do in Cleveland. I'm excited to see how Baker uses him. I think more of the light shines to Baker with this trade, seeing if he could really use and benefit off of Amari Cooper. He had Odell, he had Jarvis Landry, 2 receivers who are very close with each other, so he didn't really have to worry about too much friction in between those two, because those two are really good friends, as you can see. But Cooper, like, I'm excited to see what he does with him. He's a different type of receiver. So for me, the light really, really shines on to Baker right now. How do you feel about this Cooper trade? And do you think it makes sense to be like mind boggled that he only got traded for a 5th and a 6th?
I would say you could be slightly mind boggled. I mean, you did give up a first, but you kind of knew that when you trade somebody for a first, if you were to trade in the next couple of years, you're not going to get a first back in return. You're most likely going to get, at bare minimum, a 2nd or a 3rd. It depends. But, from the other side, we even have a comment from Perry saying it's a business, but you hate to see him go. And he is right. It is a business. You hate to see him go. But it was one of those where either get a 5th and a 6th or kind of for nothing. At least you got a 5th and a 6th round pick for him, which you can use to help improve the team. But for Cleveland, it's also a solid win, because you look at it, you only traded a 5th and a 6th for a guy who had 800 yards and 8 touchdowns of production. That's impressive. But what it does do, like you mentioned, Caleb, Baker's got to prove it now. He's got surgery on his shoulder in the offseason. He's got to prove it, and he's got to get it done. And then also, without having the likes of Jarvis Landry, it'll be interesting to see if guys like, Rashard Higgins or Donovan Peoples-Jones step up. And now that both of those players are gone, and you have now Amari Cooper, who will be a legit wide receiver 1. It's a new revamp of targets. And, you can even make the case for Jarvis Landry. Now it's all about, for Jarvis, you just go wherever you want to go. Just whatever team is in win now and has the cap space to do it. Like, if I'm Jarvis Landry, I know Indy's working on their quarterback situation, but why not go to Indianapolis? They have the cap space to sign you. I think Indianapolis, they have $69.9 million in cap space, over almost $70 million in cap. If you want top dollar, why not go to Indy? And in fact, while we're on the subject of Indy, they actually as a new receivers coach, they are bringing in Indianapolis receiver great Reggie Wayne as a receiving coach. So if you're Jarvis, why not go to Indy, get paid some big dollar, and you could be a number one? Whether you want to be a number one or a number two, you got Pittman, you got Hilton, you got a bunch of guys there. You go to Indy, you got a good chance to win.
Yeah, nah, for sure, for sure, for sure. That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know. I don't know about it. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, Indy. I gotta give it to Indy. Go ahead. Go ahead. They have a really good offensive line, so I don't go against offensive lines, bro. I think all they need is a quarterback who could obviously do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then also saw some other moves that have gone down in free agency. Former Cardinals running back Chase Edmonds signed a 2-year, $12.6 million contract with the Miami Dolphins. So their running back tree has gotten a lot better there in Miami. As you see, they're trying to build around Tua. I think it's an interesting, solid move. Your thoughts, Caleb? Do you think it's a good move that for Edmonds to go to Miami?
Yeah, yeah. Just going back to the episode, that was that back to the beginning. That is one of the you know the big moves that I really couldn't understand. Um, but hey, I think it like you said, the running back tree gets better and faster. I think they need more of a power running back though. But I like it. They make themselves a lot more dimensional. They're gonna be solid. Kirk Cousins resigns for 1 year, 35 million. Stop it.
Exactly.
Stop it.
That'll bring upon to the next topic of discussion. The Vikings decided they're giving Kirk Cousins another year, $35 million. What are your thoughts on that decision by the Minnesota Vikings? Me personally, as a Packers fan, I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious they gave a guy another year, even though throughout his whole tenure in 4 years, he's missed the playoffs 3 times in 4 years, and he's only made the playoffs once and only had one win. I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny. The Vikings seem to shoot themselves in the foot every day. But I want to hear your thoughts on it because you seem very shocked from seeing that news.
I mean, yeah, like, bruh. I mean, yeah. If I'm him, like, it's pretty inevitable that
Hey,
they're
I
not
want
gonna.
his agent. I want Kirk Cousins' agent getting him all of that guaranteed money. I want whatever persuasion he's able to do. I want that.
Facts though. He's doing. Shout out to his agent. His team for sure. They're actually making it happen. I don't know, but that's it's just a big deal. 35 million. That's a lot of money. That they could spread out. They could. I think Kirk Cousins is worth around 25, 20. If I was the GM, that's what I thought would work. But uh, I I'm just boggled, bro. I can't believe it. Like you said, it's a slap in the face to the fans. But then again, it allows them to be competitive for another year. Um, and
Yeah,
not
for
be
for for
away.
second place in the NFC North.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. And you have Justin Jefferson, Thielen. I just think maybe if they didn't give him that extension, they could have let him walk in free agency if he was going to be a free agent this year. I don't know if it was going to be this year or next year. But what I would have done, let him walk in free agency, take this year, try to compete the best you can. I'm not for the tanking vibe, but if they could compete the best they can, maybe they could find themselves uh, ending up with like a Bryce Young or even a DJ Ukulele. I think a lot of people are counting him out, being he didn't have the best year last year, but he is a pretty talented quarterback, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was ended up still being a top 10 pick when it's all said and done and the time comes. So yeah, I mean, I would have just waited and tried to hit the QB draft market next year. And I'm big on the draft market, getting the QB out of the draft market because if you can, you save a lot of money to spread that money out elsewhere. Build around a QB for a little bit, give him his big extension, and have some experienced players and build some chemistry within the organization and the team. So I just think they like to me. I think the Vikings could use the money better, but it's all good. Let's see what they do. I'm excited to see what they do. They got to make something
Mhm.
happen. He's got to make something happen. He's got to.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. We'll see what they do there. But there's also other news I write down. The Arizona Cardinals have made interesting decisions. They decided not to bring back Chandler Jones, who's one of the best pass rushers in the league. But instead of that, they decided to give their tight end, Zach Ertz, former Philadelphia Eagles tight end, Super Bowl champion, might I add as well, a 3-year, $31.65 million contract extension. Now, I'll start off by saying I think this is an interesting move. I I don't like it. In my personal opinion, I would have preferred to keep Chandler Jones over Zach Ertz.
For sure.
But the Cardinals, they want to try to be more of an offensive oriented based team. I think they only did this move to try to appease Kyler Murray. But overall, I was shocked. I thought for sure, like if I were Arizona, if I were the GM, I would be like, you know what, Zach Ertz, you can walk. That's fine. We'll let you walk in free agency. We traded you to help try to win. It didn't work. Let's worry about trying to bring back one of the best pass rushers in the past couple of years, Chandler Jones. But I'm not a GM. The Cardinals. Now, I will say for the Cardinals, they better have one of the best offenses in the NFL and make the playoffs because you give Ertz this extension. If the Ertz move flops and Chandler Jones flourish, they're going to look at you and say, "We told you so." So you better hope this move pans out. I want to throw it out to you, Caleb. Thoughts on the Cardinals' decision not only to not re-sign Chandler Jones, but to give Zach Ertz an extension?
Uh, man, I do think Chandler Jones, like you said, um, I'm sorry. Uh, like you said, he is the best pass rusher in the league, and obviously we see how important defense is. Being that Aaron Donald, the best pass rusher in the league, had a major impact on the Rams getting as far as they did and winning the Super Bowl. So I think it was important for them to bring him back some way, somehow. If they could, I'm sure he did have a good year, and I'm sure he was asking for a, a good amount of money. But I think this deal is more so letting people know that what direction they're trying to take. Like you said, they want to be more of an offensive powerhouse. Zach Ertz isn't the best tight end, but he's better than most of them. So I think it was a solid deal. It just tells you it shows you what direction they want to go in, and the offensive direction not bad. A lot of teams are going in that direction right now, so I really can't blame them with going with that deal. That's something that I could agree with a little bit, but then again, it would have been great to see if they could bring their pass rusher back. But it shows you what they value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. They definitely value offense, and they better pan out for him. And then one of the last, I believe, off-season moves that we'll touch upon, which I think would make the most sense to close it off on, just because of all the offseason that's going down. There's obviously going to be a lot more to go down, but those were just some of the main ones, the main highlighted ones: the Brady's, the Rodgers, the Russ being traded, Cooper being traded, Cousins being extended. Those were the main ones. But the last one I want to touch upon is this contract extension. Our guy Michael Gallup got paid a nice extension. After Cooper got traded, Gallup, even though he got hurt, he got signed a 5-year, $62.5 million contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys. What are your thoughts on this move, Caleb? Did the Cowboys make the right decision giving Michael Gallup that big of extension, or do you think they overpaid?
I think they overpaid, to be honest. I mean, I would love to see how or if it was possible that they could even get that deal to Cooper. I'm sure he wanted more, but I mean, depending on their options, they probably got a good deal. They're going through free agency, having to deal with that again was going to be something of its own. So I can say maybe they got a good deal, but it's a big contract. I'm sure there's some space to restructure it or even cut the ties later in the contract. Um, you know, just to save them money or whatnot. So I think it was a benefit. If they gave him that much money, it definitely was beneficial for them in some way, some sort. In my opinion. How do you feel about that deal?
I feel like I feel like it's good for the Cowboys. I think you lock up Gallup. You know, now he's going to be your number 2, number 3 guy when healthy. But you know, I think it's one of those you lose Cooper, you got to retain somebody. Retaining Gallup was the right move, and I know I did say the Gallup move was a last move, but we have breaking news that just occurred as of right now. Former guard for the now Washington Commanders, Brandon Schriff. I pronounced his name wrong. I apologize for it. He's going to sign a contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The details haven't been sorted yet, but he is going to sign a contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that is very important because they had the number 1 overall pick, and a lot of the projections had Alabama guard Evan Neal going to Jacksonville. Now that he's selected, don't sleep on either Thibodeaux or Hutchinson getting drafted first overall. Your thoughts on this move, Caleb, as it just now happened?
Uh, they needed it. They needed it. It was huge, 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 huge move. They need a line. With the line and the right coach and the right culture built around Jacksonville, I believe they could be good again. Lance had a solid year, but he definitely did not have a line to make sure he was protected back there. I wouldn't be surprised if they still went with Neal just to build out that line even more and make it really strong and tight. But I think it was a good deal, bro. How do you feel about it?
I think it's a good decision for Jacksonville.
Mhm.
I think now I know what they're doing with the first overall pick. I think they're going to go defense. I think it's going to either be Clavon Thibodeaux or Aiden Hutchinson. My humble opinion, I'd go with Thibodeaux. Thibodeaux is more proven. He's dominated year in, year out in his tenure in Oregon. And Aiden Hutchinson had one breakout year, which was this past year. If I'm the Jaguars, you better take Thibodeaux. If you don't take Thibodeaux, you are going to regret it. And I know, Caleb, you're a big Oregon guy, but I agree with 100%. Get Thibodeaux. He is the best pass rusher in this draft. You pair up Thibodeaux with Josh Allen in Jacksonville, you're going to have a nice future dynamic duo for pass rushers.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I agree. I agree. Like I said, I would definitely wouldn't be surprised if they got Thibodeau. Thibodeau is definitely more proven. Um, and like, yeah, he's more proven. I could say I've seen more of Thibodeau than Aiden Hutchinson. But both of those players are good. But like I said, I'd go with Thibodeau. Dude's really good, really good. I remember playing against him in basketball. He's fucking huge. I played against him in middle school. We were in 8th grade. Played at like we they used to if for those of you guys who used to play basketball back in the day, AAU, they used to call tournament shootouts. So we played. I played him at a shootout, and dude was extremely huge. And he wasn't even. It turns out that he wasn't even a basketball player for real. He was a football player. He put up like 20 on us off of rebounds strictly. But yeah, I would go with Kayvon.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a freaking nature. But those are all of the offseason moves that have happened, that have occurred, that I believe are the most important. Now that we've touched up on all of the offseason moves, Caleb, you're obviously a big Rams guy. We saw what went down during the playoffs. Just kind of to give a nice recap, the Rams, obviously, if you have been under a rock, they took the Super Bowl, they won it all. But the beauty of the Rams winning it all, my guy Caleb was there.
Yes,
He 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 helped work with the Rams. I would see pictures of it year in and year out this
Mhm.
season. He was there for all of the postseason games, and it was quite phenomenal to see. I want to give the floor to you, Caleb. What was it like?
Man, for me, like it's like a kid at the candy shop, bruh. It was a dream come true. I used to go to sleep watching NFL TV. So to even start off and get the job with the Rams, like that blew me already. And then to get to the Super Bowl, bro, like that was really all God. All glory goes to God for that one because without him and him working his magic, I wouldn't have been able to go to the game. But it, it was amazing. It was amazing. Like you said, like I said earlier, I worked for the Rams. I went to every game, every home game, and they were great. They were great. Like, you get the atmosphere before the game, you get the atmosphere after the game. When we lose, it's not the best. When we win, we're real turned up and happy. But it was nothing like the Super Bowl, bro. Like the Super Bowl is literally like a carnival and a fucking video and a game and one. It's just such a big event, so much that if you're watching it on TV that you really don't see. They have so much activation stuff outside of the arena that kind of pumps you up, games and stuff that you can do outside of the arena. And then when you get there, you're in the Super Bowl, bro. You feel me? So you have to really think about it and let that soak in. But it was amazing, bro. The game was amazing. I hope everybody that was watching it enjoyed the game. I definitely did. That last minute was everything for me. I worked to the 2 minute warning, and I was like, okay, it's 2 minute warning. We're done. I'm off. Don't come to me to buy nothing anymore. And I sell like 50-50 raffle tickets. And part of the reason why we got to go to the Super Bowl is because we raised the most money out of all the NFL teams. So yeah, at that point, stop coming to me and buying shit. I need to watch the last 2 minutes of this game. So I got to watch literally the last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl in the Super Bowl. That's pretty much it. It was my passion. It was that last 2 minutes was amazing, bro. Like it gets no better than that. So yeah, it was a blessing, bro. It was a dream come true, bro. How did you enjoy the game out there in Texas? What was the atmosphere and the vibe like where you were?
Well, the vibes and stuff where I was in the comfort of my home.
Mm.
So it was chilling. I was a little sad for Burrow. I
Mm.
was really pulling for my guy. I saw him at LSU when he went on that incredible Heisman run with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. It was incredible. But I am proud for Matthew Stafford. I'm proud for Aaron Donald. I'm also proud to see LSU alum Andrew Whitworth and OBJ getting those rings. That Super Bowl was fun for me to watch because I didn't care who won. If the Rams won, which they did, I would be like, "Yo, my boy Caleb gets to see them celebrate at SoFi. Like that's gonna be wild. Like that's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome." Stafford gets a ring. Donald Von Miller gets another one. OBJ. Like I'd be fine with that. And then if Cincinnati would have won it, get to see my boy Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty,
Brr.
whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
He gets a ring. And then on top of that, Jamar Chase gets a ring. Like I was thrilled either way. I was even more ecstatic when I saw the Rams won it because I'm just like, one, another chip for the city of Los Angeles. That's one. And then two, getting to see Matthew Stafford suffer through all of those years in Detroit of failure and torment. And now he got to succeed with the Rams. And what the Rams also proved is that you can buy your way to a championship. You could
Okay,
say you could say screw those draft picks. We're gonna win now, and they did it. They won now. And
Fuck.
and I know a lot of people say like, oh, the Lions won that Staffordshire because all those picks. Rams are the ultimate winner because they won the whole damn thing. They won the Lombardi. They could care less about those picks when you're drafting 32. They don't care if you're drafting 32. They got a ring on their finger to show for it.
Yeah.
And now, and like you told me yesterday, Caleb, what do the Rams want to do?
Run it back.
Exactly.
Right.
Run it back. Now that you got one is good. But let's see if you get two, and then three, and then more. Let's see what you get happen there. But I think it was excited to see what the Rams did. I think it was even an exciting playoffs. We saw the 6 seed 49ers go all the way to the NFC Championship game. They may have took down my Green Bay Packers, and I was a little disappointed. But seeing that 6 seed journey go far, that was incredible to see. And then even the Cincinnati Bengals, we saw them win their first ever playoff game since 1991. And not only do they do just that, they go all the way to the freaking Super Bowl. Like
with
this
with the rookie receiver, Jamar Chase,
with a rookie receiver and a second-year quarterback.
Yeah, really like a first-year quarterback. Burrow got hurt last year too. It was an amazing story. Either way it turned out,
Exactly, like just a young roster. They not only won their first playoff game, but they went on a big run. We then saw, the Bills and Chiefs have one of the greatest playoff games we've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, that was some back and forth drama. And and we saw your Rams win it all. I also kind of want to throw out this one last question for you. What was the Super Bowl halftime show like? I know we see it all on TV and it looks good and stuff, but what is it like in person?
Man, I took my break at Super Bowl halftime, so I was like, I'm not selling anything right now. And I went to enjoy the show, and it was a great show, bro. Like I've never seen a Super Bowl halftime like that one, and to know all the songs and to grow up listening to those songs. Like when I seen 50 Cent, like I used to listen to 50 Cent all the time. I know the Candy Shop. I used to know like his words lyric for lyric. So that was really another dream come true for me. That 50 Cent was my favorite rapper. As I got older in the middle school, I really started listening to Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that. So to have those artists perform at the Super Bowl, like literally, that was a dream come true. The show was amazing, as you see. I feel like honestly though, I feel like the show is better to be watched. Like it was better on TV, to watch it on TV, because you could see like certain things that I couldn't see. But then again, being there, you can't beat being there.
I was gonna say you can't beat being there. And then what was it like seeing the confetti fall with it being blue and yellow for the LA Rams?
Oh man, I didn't even pay no attention to the confetti, bro. I think I sent you a video.
I think I saw you were up and down. I think you were saying, "Let's fucking get it."
Yeah, nah. I don't even remember the confetti, bro. But the confetti was everywhere. All the fans were turned up. Everybody, even if the person didn't know you, they were gonna hug you and say, "Let's go Rams." You know what I'm saying? So it was just so turned that a lot of us weren't even paying attention to the confetti. But it was like, again, I pride myself in watching post game interviews, and especially after Super Bowl and finals. So seeing them speak was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. The suit is everything, bro. Even the parade is crazy. Another guy that I worked with at training camp, he just worked at a different department at the Rams, and he had the Super Bowl trophy in his hand. I was so jealous, bro. I wish I could touch that thing.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. It was crazy that the Rams went on this kind of run training for Stafford. It was a crazy playoffs, and so far, safe to say, a crazy NFL offseason. But with that being said, that's the NFL side of things. Let's switch gears over to the NBA side of things. And last time we had an episode, it's been a little bit, but the NBA, safe to say, has changed drastically since the month of January. We're into March. The trade deadline has passed. And before we get into any of the current NBA standings, let's give a big union address for the Lakers, because we are garbage. It's a disaster. It still boggles my mind, Caleb, that the Lakers didn't even make a move at the trade deadline. You've heard me in previous episodes state, like, if we don't improve, things need to change. Things didn't change, and we're still doing bad. Now, LeBron's at a record pace. first ever player with 30,000 total points, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists. I see this man drop 56 on the Warriors, had a 50 burger, I think, a couple nights ago. I mean, LeBron's playing, he's going off. Year 19, he's playing like he's year 12.
Exactly.
But nobody else is showing up. There is no Russell Westbrook. It's West Brick. Like,
Matt, let me ask you something real quick.
What is happening with the Lakers, man? I need to hear. I know I'm frustrated. I want to hear your thoughts. Like, how frustrated are you at the Lakers right now?
Man, I gotta ask you something real quick. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. All right.
You want to go with my thoughts first?
Yeah. I want to ask you a question. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? What is our problem? Why are we? What is it? What is our problem?
Well, the first problem is old age. Our roster's very old. I mean, when you're relying on Carmelo Anthony, who's on his last leg, Dwight Howard is washed. Your only reliable scorer is, besides LeBron, is probably like a Austin Reeves or like DJ Augustine right now. I knew the problem with the Lakers, but before the season even started, you could say in October, it was going to go one of two ways. Either we were going to do good this season, and our old guys weren't going to play like they're old, or we were going to be terrible, and our guys were going to show their age. The second has happened. The Lakers have shown that old age can only take you so far. You know, we're currently the 9th seed. We're 29-38, nearly 10 games below 500. And I mean, you look at it, it's panic time because you look at you're only 2.5 games ahead of the Trailblazers for a playoff spot. Only a game and a half ahead of the Pelicans for the 10 seed. It's very hard. It's disappointing to me when it was even in February. Pelinka basically said, "Oh, like we're on the same page here with LeBron and AD, and you don't make any moves." And LeBron basically goes and says, "I thought we were making moves." Like we already know what the Lakers are at this point. We're either going to make the playoffs and be a first round exit, or we're going to miss the playoffs and fall short in the play-in. The writing is pretty much on the wall already. Because there's no way we're beating Phoenix, no way we're beating Golden State, maybe no way we're even beating Memphis. Like, the writing's pretty much on the wall. The Lakers have to find a way to do something. Like, you got to find a way to get Russ out of there. You got to fire Frank Vogel. And you got to figure out what to do with the front office. Because Pelinka ain't it. He's terrible. His only, you can even make a case, his only name credibility was because he was linked to the late, great Kobe Bryant. And now that Kobe Bryant is sadly no longer with us, what does Pelinka have with the Lakers? He's irrelevant. He's nobody. Like, because if you want to build within a Lakers organization, you had your guy in Magic Johnson, and you blew him off for Pelinka instead. Who are you going to rock with? Like, the answer, the Lakers have to do a deep cleansing. They got to change the way how their front office is ran. Jeanie Buss needs to have tough love. You can't be relying on Kurt and Linda Rambis to help make decisions. You can't be all buddy with Rob Pelinka. You got to be tough. You got to find new guys. You got to have new blood because it's a different era. It's different. You know what I mean? You can only be buddy for so long. If you win, it's great. But when you're not winning, you got to start changing some things. And the Lakers got to switch it up because if they don't, they're going to be pedaling in the same mediocrity for a couple of years. And the last thing I'll touch up, AD need to figure out a training regimen schedule because there's no way you're 28, 29 years old and always have tic-tacky injuries. Charles Barkley called him street clothes, and he's right. He's street clothes. He's injured. He plays for 2 weeks, and he's out for 6. He plays for another 2 weeks, he's out for 4 weeks. He plays for a week and a half, and he's out for 2 weeks. There needs to be consistency with Anthony Davis if they want to go far this year. And the reason I say that is because LeBron isn't supposed to be playing like this in year 19. He's playing this good because he has to keep the Lakers in the game. You trade for AD and you trade for Russ to help alleviate LeBron's stress level in year 19. But you're relying on him more than you did your first time you signed him. They got to figure out in this offseason. It's gonna take God's work to salvage the season into something. Because at this point, you're going to be a first-round exit. You got to focus on what you're going to do in the offseason. What kind of value does Russ have? And if you want to, at this point, check what kind of value AD has. Now, he's probably not going to have a lot of value. You're probably not going to trade him. But you have to consider all your options. You got to have every option open on the table to help improve this roster. Because you can't improve through draft picks because you don't have any. You got to try to improve through trades and free agency signings.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that's the only thing that we can do. I think a bit of our problem is coaching. I just don't understand why we haven't found our identity yet. I think that's really what our problem is. We're just a team who hasn't found our identity. It's times in the game where I feel like, okay, there's some type of hope here with some identity. But then again, we're always switching our starting lineup. We just don't. Our chemistry together is just really bad, and that's kind of like the same thing last year. Every time we tried to play last year, if it was Harrell, Kuz, AD, Dennis Schroeder, one of those guys were always injured. So just us being injury prone is not it. I think now that I think about it, I wish we would have kept our young core. But I think we just don't have an identity, man. Like, who did we play the other day? I think we played the Warriors. The Warriors ran a play that just looked like they do it on every team that they play against, and it pretty much works. I don't think we have a play like that. I don't think we have a set like that. As much as I watch, I don't think we have anything that we can just go to and say we're gonna get a bucket. Besides, here, LeBron, get the ball. Go get a bucket if you can. That's it. And that's what Cleveland was doing back when they had LeBron. They would just give him the ball. Everybody go sit somewhere and catch and shoot. Like we can't do that. LeBron's way too old for that. Like we need some chemistry. We don't have our identity. That's my opinion, but I do see us having an opportunity to still get in the playoffs. We could just stay at 9. I think winning one game, we could beat Timberwolves or the Clippers in one game.
Yeah, well, we first got to get past New Orleans first. That's the first.
New Orleans got to get past us, bruh.
Well, yeah, exactly. That as well. We got to take care of business against New Orleans first before we could even consider the Clippers or the Timberwolves. We got to get past them first.
That's not how the play-in works, does it?
Yeah, how the play-in worked. When you're a 9 or a 10, you got to beat the Pelicans, and then once you do that, then you got to beat the loser between the Timberwolves and the Clippers. Now, if we find a way to get up to an 8 seed, all we got to do is beat either the Timberwolves or the Clippers. Then you're the 7. But to get an 8 seed, you got to not only beat the 10 seed, but you also got to beat the Clippers or the Timberwolves, whoever loses that game.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember now.
So it's a process. We'll see what happens with the Lakers, but I mean, we're in a disaster funk right now. We'll see if we could get in. Obviously, I think we'll make it to the play-in. If we somehow don't make it to the play-in, oh man, heads are gonna roll. But I think we'll make the play-in. Just give LeBron and AD when they're healthy 2 games. I think we can get in the dance. But we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see what happens in the playoffs. But That's on the Lakers side of things. Let's get into the current NBA standings. We'll first start off in the Western Conference, and the Western Conference looks like this. The Phoenix Suns, they've already clinched the playoffs. They've clinched the playoff position already. They have the best record in the NBA at 54 wins. It's at 54-14. The next best team is the Grizzlies at 47, Warriors 46, followed by the Jazz, the Mavericks, and the Nuggets. Those are your top 6. And then the 7, 8, 9, and 10 you can see are the Timberwolves. You got the Clippers, you got the Lakers, and the Pelicans. What has been the most shocking thing so far, Caleb, that has stood out to you in the Western Conference so far this season?
The Grizzlers. The
Wait,
Grizzlies, man.
did you just say Grizzlers instead of Grizzlies?
Yeah. You know me, bro. I make up my own slang, man, and that's what I just thought of right now. The
We're
Grizzlies.
we're gonna put that in the Caleb slang book, the Grizzlies.
Yeah. The Caleb slang dictionary, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the Grizzlies, bro. I didn't think they would be this good, but they are really, 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 really good, and they show up every night. Um, I
Hey,
do
John
think,
Morant's something special.
oh yeah, he is, and
Could you imagine if John Morant went number 1 to New Orleans instead of Zion?
I wish that I think AD would have definitely had to. I mean, hopefully,
Hey, AD could have flourished. Could if he stayed, he might have stayed in New Orleans
yeah,
if they got Ja.
yeah, for real. That's why, yeah. I mean, the Grizzlies really, really lucked up with Ja. Um, but I still think they need one more piece. Honestly, bro. I think what they have right now is good. We have a lot of teams that are like good regular season teams. I think they're one of those teams, but again, I do think that they have a potential to um, win.
Do you think the Grizzlies have the potential to make it to the Western Conference Finals?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Do you?
No, I don't think so. I think the Grizzlies maybe win one playoff series
Yeah.
because I look at it from a standpoint of you're a 2 seed, and with you being currently the 2 seed, obviously we'll know more in April when the season is over. But I think when the season is done, Memphis is going to be a 3rd seed, and when you're the 3rd seed, you're either at this rate going to play Denver or Minnesota. If you're Memphis, you better hope that Minnesota's a 6 seed because I would like their odds more against Minnesota than Denver. Because I think if Denver is a 6 seed and they play Memphis, I think the Nuggets could pull off the upset just because they got the experience. I think with Memphis, if Memphis could stay as a 2 seed, they got an opportunity. And then even if you make it past round 1, if you got to play Golden State is built a different breed. Like I'll go as far to say I think the Western Conference Finals this year is going to be Phoenix versus Golden State. I truly believe that's going to be your Western Conference Finals because I think those are the 2 best teams in the Western Conference. It's the Suns, it's the Warriors. Like that's going to be your Western Conference Finals. If you want to write down right now, March 14th, 2022, Pi Day, the Western Conference Finals is going to be the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. That's what you're going to see in May. Here's what I will say. I do agree with your statement, Caleb, that the Grizzlies are missing one piece.
Yes, one.
But if they do get that one piece, though, in the offseason, they can be in the conversation for conference finals.
Yes.
But for right now, they're going to most likely be at best make it to round 2.
I can't be mad at that. They're a younger team. So I understand that this is gonna be their first time in the playoffs at the 2
Well,
seed.
they made it. They made it last year as the 8 seed.
But as an 8 seed, you know what I'm saying? Now they're a 2 seed. So home court is another thing that they don't have to worry about. They get that advantage of being able to have home court. But then again, experience is a big factor. I hope if they could stay at 2 and the Timberwolves can stay at 7, I could see them competing.
Oh yeah, I absolutely see that. Memphis's best odds to win a playoff series is keeping that 2 seed. but it's going to be very hard because the Warriors are right there. They're only half a game behind. They're only a half a game behind Memphis. Like it's going to be very tough to see what's going to happen there. But I mean, Phoenix, they're gonna be a tough team to beat because now I kind of looked at Phoenix's run in the finals last year. I'm like, all right, they finally made a run. They may have lost, but let's see what they can do the following year. And it's safe to say the following year, this year they're on a mission. They are on a mission to do well. And what's crazy is, Caleb, they're doing this without Chris Paul. They're still dominating without Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then also, if you want to even say, do you think Monty Williams has Coach of the Year wrapped up?
Yeah.
Or do you think it'll go to somebody else, like the Grizzlies head coach, or Spoelstra, or just anybody like that, or even like the Cavaliers or Billy Donovan and the Bulls?
Yeah, honestly, I was really gonna mention the Cavaliers. Like, I do think that the Cavaliers is the team that really deserves it, or the coach that deserves it, in other words. Yeah, I would go with the Cavs this year, bro. They're a surprise team. Uh, Monty Williams, true. I like can't go wrong with the Grizzlies coach. I think it's still up in the air, bro. I think it's still up in the air. I could give you an answer on that when the season ends. I can't even say right now because there are so many coaches that are actually doing a really good job. In my opinion, I think there are a lot of coaches doing a really good job right now.
Absolutely. And then I'll even throw it out before we move to the Eastern Conference. Caleb, do you agree with the statement that the Western Conference Finals is going to be between the Suns and the Warriors, or do you have different teams?
I can see that. I think that's you have a valid statement with that. I could agree with you there. I must say.
Yeah. Definitely like that statement there. And then let's move on to the other side of things, the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference looks like this. You got the Heat, you got the Sixers, the Bucks, the Bulls, followed by the Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, 1 through 6. And then currently, if the play-in were to start today, you got the Toronto Raptors, the Brooklyn Nets, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Charlotte Hornets. What has been the one thing that has stood out to you the most, Caleb, in the Eastern Conference that has surprised you?
The Cavaliers being as good as they were, honestly, they've been huge. Nets, can't really fault them. I'm happy that the Hawks are moving back in, but damn, I gotta give it to the Cavs, bruh. Didn't think they were gonna be this good. They're really shocking me. Raptors sitting up there in the seventh seed is very surprising too, but they do have a solid team around them, just solid guys. Um, but yeah, man, I'd have to go with the Cavs, bro. They've impressed me a lot this year. Garland stepped into an all-star point guard type of guy. Evan Mobley has a lot of promise. Colin Sexton is not even back yet, but when he does, it could be scary. They compete well together. Jared Allen is another guy. Yeah, man, I got to go with the Cavs. There's nobody in the East that you know has impressed me more than the Cavs this year. Who would you go with?
You know, going through all the teams, I'm gonna go with the Philadelphia 76ers only because I didn't expect Philadelphia to be a 2 seed. I thought Philadelphia was gonna be one of those teams to where, you know what, they're gonna be a 4th seed, they're gonna be a 5th seed, they're gonna be a 6th seed. Ultimately, either win one series and then get bounced around 2. But where Philadelphia's positioned, or they're a 2 seed, they got a chance to make the Eastern Conference Finals. And then especially when you look at they make a trade for James Harden. During the trade deadline, they did trade a lot. They traded Seth Curry, they traded Ben Simmons, Andre Drummond, and in return, you got James Harden. Like This is the Sixers going all in to win now. I think now, Caleb, I even mentioned this to you yesterday when we were talking. I said for the Sixers to make it to the NBA, to the Eastern Conference Finals, they got to be the 1 seed. And I still believe that. I think where Philadelphia's positioned right now at a 2 seed, if they want to go far, they got to avoid the Bucks because I think Milwaukee's is still going to be the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. But from a standpoint of what team that shocked me the most, it's Philadelphia being a 2 seed. Now, I love what the Cavs are doing. I didn't expect Cleveland to be a 6 seed, but Philadelphia being at that number 2 seed, having an opportunity to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that has kind of surprised me to say the least. And then we got Christian saying this draft is a bad year to be shit, good year to have less draft capital. Yeah, I think that makes sense. But I do want to say, Caleb, when you look at this current playoff standings,
Right.
we currently have at this rate, I think, a month before the season is over. The regular season, that is.
Yeah.
Is there going to be any seed changes? You know, whether you see Chicago moving up to 3 or Cleveland falling? Because you look at this race, 1-5, only separated by 4 games with a month left. There's going to be a lot of shifting going down. I want to get your thoughts. Do you think anything changes?
For the East, right?
Yes, for the Eastern Conference. Do you think anything? Because currently this is what it is as of March 14th.
Yeah.
From here to the end of the season in April, do you think any changes happen?
Yes, I do. I think the Hawks somehow, some way, find a way to get in. I don't know how.
Like all the way
They're
up to
gonna
the
get
6th seed, or like when
well,
the play-in tournament?
seven, play in,
Whoa.
7, yeah, yeah. I could see. I don't know if they have enough. How far are they? 33, and the Cavs.
Yeah, they're 33 and 34, and they're 4 games back of the Raptors for the 7th seed.
How many for the Cavs? 5.
The Cavs for the 6th seed, they're 5 games. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they could chase the Cavs. Maybe that the
I
Nets
like
probably
that.
really want to get that spot. They should want to because you never know. I could see it. It comes down to one game for a lot, and it doesn't come down to one game, but you never know, bruh. Them being at if they fall out, it could be crucial for the Nets. So yeah, I think the Nets really want to try to get that 6 or anywhere they could lock in a spot and have to do the play in. But for me, I think the Hawks get in the playoffs somewhere between 6 and 7, at the very least 8.
Interesting.
Do you see any changes happening?
I do. I see some changes. This may be a hot take. I know the Heat are doing good, but I think at the end of the season, it's going to be the 76ers as the 1, the Bucks as a 2, Heat 3. I'm even going to go as far as saying Celtics 4, Bulls 5, and then Cavaliers 6. I think the 4 play-in teams are going to be the same. I think it's going to be Toronto, Brooklyn, Hawks, Hornets. However you want to slice and dice 7, 8. I think that's going to be how it goes. But no. You know what? The one thing I will say is, I think I'm going to say the Heat keep the 1. I think the Sixers are going to stay at 2. Bucks are going to stay at 3. I think Celtics are going to go up to 4. Bulls are going to fall to 5. And I think the Cavs are going to stay at 6 because I think the Nets are going to be the 7 seed. And I want to see that Brooklyn Nets, Philadelphia 76ers round 1 matchup in the playoffs. Sign me up for that. Give me Harden versus Philly. Give me Ben Simmons versus that Philadelphia crowd. It's gonna be electric. I want to see that. So the only seeding changes that I see happening is the Celtics going up to a 4 seed and the Bulls falling to a 5th seed. Other than that, I see everything else staying most likely the same.
Yeah, I hear that, bro. Very few changes. Even in the West, I don't see any changes in the West really.
Now, we gave our Western Conference Finals prediction. You and I both agreed to the sentiment of Suns and Warriors. For the Eastern Conference Finals, who do you think it's going to be? Last year, it was Bucks versus Hawks. Do you think it's the same this year, or do you think it's going to be different?
I think it's gonna be different. I think it's gonna be. I want to see Niners and Nets conference finals. That's what
You
I'm
think?
calling.
Well, hold on. Wait,
That's what I'm
which
calling.
two teams did you say?
Niners. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. 76ers, the Ers, and the Nets. 76ers and Nets. My bad. I got mixed up with the But yeah, that for the Eastern Conference uh finals, I think those are my two teams.
That's that. I will say that'll be an interesting Eastern Conference Finals, and I just say that's a good flaming hot take. That's a good hot take right there between the Sixers and the Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals. I do think. I think the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be this. I think it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, and you know what? I'm looking at the playoff standings right now. I think it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. I truly believe that's what it's going to be. Because to be quite frank, I'm not sold on Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia, if they were to match up against Milwaukee, I'm going with the Bucks all day. I think it's going to be Bucks Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think it's going to be Suns Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. I think it's going to be excited to see what changes in the entire month of March into April. And I'll even throw it out to anybody in the color cast. If any of you guys want to throw out your Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals predictions, you sure can. Caleb and I both have in the West the Suns and the Warriors in the West. But in the East, we both differ. Caleb says it's going to be Nets and Sixers. I say it's going to be Bucks and Heat. I think it's going to be exciting. I think the rest of the NBA season is going to be an exciting one to follow, especially when you got the month of March. You got March Madness starting up, and then you got the peak of basketball, whether it's make or break for the teams that are trying to get in the play-in and teams that are trying to solidify a playoff spot. And then in the NFL, with teams making big signature moves in free agency, setting themselves up for the draft in late April. And with that being said, Caleb, do you have any final words here before we close out this fantastic episode?
Stay blessed, y'all. Stay great. Have a blessed day, and we will be back for more. You dig that?
Yeah, absolutely. We will be back for more. That will conclude episode 63 of the MCS Real Sports Podcast. I am Matt Skura. That is my great co-host, Mr. Caleb Conant. We are signing off on this Pi Day, February 14th. And before we go, we actually have on the hot mic here. It is going to be Christian here. Let me send in a request. I'll let him know. You could send in a request the mic. Perfect. We're actually before we close it out, we're going to throw in here some of the hot seats here. Let me put them in here 1 second. Alrighty, here we go. Let's see how we get this up here. Oh boy, hold on, stand by. This is quite a scene here, but that is for the StreamYard. We are going to sign off on out of here. This is going to be strictly on Colorcast. Follow the Colorcast link at Matt Skura USN and for Caleb as well. We are out of here on StreamYard. Enjoy episode 63 when we post on the available services.